What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some strips of foam that's going to go on both sides for this build. One side here and one side here. And I know that I'm going to be cutting it from the end of the handle up to the tip. You're going to cut a strip that is just thick enough to match the width of this PVC. This is 1/2 inch outer diameter. You could measure the foam 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here, and try and match the cut all the way up. We have our split right down the middle. This is going to be our guiding line for both of our pieces, okay? So I know it has to be exactly this length. We already cut that. We already measured it. So I'm going to guess, okay? I'm going to follow the line and try to keep my scissors at about the same distance away from the line, okay? So let's just start cutting. If you want to measure to get your first cut and say, okay, I need to be this far away from the line, you go ahead and do that. I've been doing this for a few years, so I kind of have a guess. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. Like I said, we're not going for perfection. We're going for battle ready. Now, we're going to do the same thing on the other side, though. This was what the side I cut on, so I'm going to cut this side now. Now we have our two pieces cut. This is going to be the inside foam protecting whatever players you're hitting from getting hit with the PVC. Just like with this handle piece, I'm going to follow the print as best I can all the way up to the top. Let's take this piece there, put a little piece of tape on it. So then we're going to take this, like I said, we're going to follow this line all the way to the tip, okay? So kind of look, we're going to tape it just to the PVC itself, right? Could have moved a little bit while you were laying it down. Take it, look at it. Does it look like it follows a generally straight line? It does not. Move that over just a little bit. Just like so, like so. Now, let's get the other side and look at it. Measure it up here because we had already made sure that this piece of driving marker and this piece of driving marker were even. Tape that down. You're going to just take it like so, lay it, and you're going to try and say, okay, when I lay this down, do I see the foam on the other side? Does this look wavy? Is it exactly opposite of that? Yes. Now we've got it generally taped down. Generally. I haven't done the full. I want to make sure that, yes, this is here. This is following this line. Like I said, this is going to bow, but we're taping that down. This is following this line here. Comes up. It looks like it's supposed to be where it's supposed to be, which is very, very nice. Now we have to tape this down. I want you to take a whole strip from tip to handle. Rip it. Set it aside. Another whole strip from tip to handle. Tape. Aside. One more. Tip to handle. Rip it. Use it. Set it like so. It's going to take some practice. I'm going to lay it from here all the way to the end. Okay? Generally even. All the way up. Once you start to press and lay, don't worry about that. That's okay. You're going to see, okay, is this generally even? Yes. Now I'm going to lay it down. Don't crush it yet. We are not crushing this tape down. We are just doing enough to get it to stick. Okay? Now that looks a whole lot more straight after we get the real tape on there. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. It's going to look like this. It's not perfect. It's not great. But when we look at it like this, is this generally straight? Yes. Can we see the foam on the other side sticking out? No. Remember that third piece that we had. And you can do this one of two ways. You can lay this down on a piece of table. You can take your scissors or a knife and you can cut it down the center. But I don't want to do that. And you're going to rip it in half the long way, just like all these other pieces. One side's a little bit bigger than the other, and that's okay. There's more space here than there is here, so I'm going to take the bigger half. I'm going to lay it like this. And this is kind of a capstone piece. Same thing on this side right here. One more quick check. Does it look even? Does it look even? Yes. Now we are going to press it down. We're going to get all of this tape to stick together. Now we're going to go to cut the tip. This is a two-sided sword, so I'm going to cut the tip as a triangle. So now, this is going to be 30 inches overall. The piece of PVC, the core, comes up to here. You can bend it and see. This is a good amount of foam for the tip. This is awesome, but we're not at 30 inches yet. Yardstick time. I generally tell people, you're going to want to cut it. It's going to be 30 inches in total, but you're going to want to cut your foam at 30 and a half. So that way when you go to cut the tip, if you cut it screwed up and one side is more wonky than the other, you can just fix it a little bit. 30 and a half is right there. Now, I'm going to take this and slide it onto the blade itself. Find that inside seam, and you want to make sure it's on the flat of the blade. This is the flat. This would be the cut edge of the blade. This is the flat of the blade. Put it in. As you can see, it's kind of tight. It does what it needs to do. You're just going to slide it on. Get a decent grip. Pull. Or push, whichever you're doing. Nice and gently. Small, itty-bitty pushes and pulls is what's going to get this on. When you're pulling this on, you're going to compress all this foam. So just take it, do this, hold the bottom, pull. It's going to bring everything back to normal. Now, we are at the edge of our driveway markers where our handle is. This is a double-sided, double-edged blade, so we're going to cut our tip. So you're going to pinch this together. This inside seam is your guide. Pinch it together. Do you want a narrow or a deep? We're just going to try to go for an equal cut. Okay? Turn it to the other side. Now remember what I said earlier. If you think it's going to be even, go a little bit up. So if you're looking at it, you're like, okay, that looks like it's going to be good. A little bit further up. When I say up, I mean go with a little less of an angle. Don't be deeper, be less of an angle. See, I messed it up. So we're going to even this back out with the edge of that. So this, and just cut it down to there. Cut that, because we're trying to make a triangle. So when we push this together, that looks a lot better. A lot better. Now, bevel your edges. It's going to help this whole thing tape much, much easier. So you take the edges like this here, and you just cut these ends off. I know this seems silly, and it seems simple, but you're going to want to do it, because when you go to tape this, it's going to be far less of a pain to actually tape this closed. So we're going to take some tape, just a small little chunk, and lay it over top. So edge, you're going to follow the curve of the tip. Okay. Lay. Getting both the pieces together. It is kind of difficult to do this when that's split, but that's okay. We're going to make it happen. Just like so. Take this here. Cut that. Cut that. Cut that. Because you want this to lay a little bit nicer. Lay. 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 Same thing over here. Okay. Do a couple of slits. Lay. 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 And lay. Now you're going to do the same thing on this side. There. Good. We want to fix this. We want to make sure that this blade is connected to this handle and doesn't go anywhere. We're just going to bevel along this edge, which means you're just going to cut a little bit off of here, so that's a little bit more round. Round edges are typically your friend in this game when it comes to foam. You do not want sharp, pointed edges. Take a piece of tape long enough to wrap itself all the way around, but halfway, all the way around. Press it down, then take another piece. Clean this all up. It's okay if it comes up like so and doesn't wrap all the way around, because we're going to take another piece, lay it down, because we don't want this to go anywhere. Other side. And then one more piece. You're going to want to pull this one a little bit tighter because you want everything to come together. So I'm going to take my foam. I'm just going to see how far would I have to go to wrap it around. About that far. We're going to cut it right there. Split it. Now, you already have one side cut. We're going to cut it on the other side. This is kind of like a feel with your fingers and where your scissors are, kind of. Just start cutting. You're going to feel it with your fingers. Try to keep that line even. Cut. It's not going to be perfect. This side had the crease in it, the seam. So we're going to tape this down to this side right here. Like so. It's going to sit on that bevel. Place it on. Press it down. Okay. Now we're going to go all the way around with it till we come back to where it was. Take a piece of tape and tape this together. So I'm going to take from here all the way down. So when you tape this down, you can kind of see where the tip tape already exists. Pull this up, cut that excess off. You don't want a terribly large amount of tape on the tip. Don't worry about this right here. We'll cut this off. When we go to lay our tape down on the blade, you want to overlay it a little bit. Generally, you want 1/8 of an inch, just enough over to where you have contact with the other piece of tape. Pinch this together a little bit. Press and lay. Oh, so you're going to get creases. It's a press and lay. You're not wrapping. It's a press and a lay. When I go to lay this, if I laid it correctly, this is a 1-inch piece of pipe insulation, I should be able to lay this 4th piece down and get overlap on this piece of tape and on this piece of tape. Press and lay. Beautiful. Pinch that a little bit at the tip because it tends to curve itself in a little. Pinch it, flush it up. Press and lay. We're going to be moving on to these two pieces. Black, black, gray on the bottom. So we're going to do it part way on, part way off. Okay. I'm going to take this piece of tape right here. Rip it in half the long way. You're going to want to press it down. It's going to look like this. Kind of has this little arc, okay? Because you're following the curve of this. Part way on here, press and lay. Okay? Now as you can see, we're starting to layer this all together. Okay? Press and lay. Now this layering is going to add strength and rigidity to your sword. It's also going to make it so it looks better in the long run. Now I'm going to make sure that I just tape this to the blade. Down. This part's going to be on the blade. Remember, not partway on here. Blade and down. So we're going to worry about this part right here. Now, we're going to take our half-ripped pieces, smaller chunks. It's just a tedious, finicky process. We're going to take it, press it down like so. It's not going to stay totally tight right now. So you take the other piece, you tape it down. You see how it's stretching like that? We're going to press it like so. Same thing right here. except we're not going to start from here. We're just going to part way on, part way off. Finish that up, part way on, part way off. More pieces, part way on, part way off. One more, on, part way off. All of these pieces where it's not attached. Okay, so we're going to do one more. Right there. That little cleanup step. Side. That little cleanup step. You just want to make sure that everything is taped down. So you think, where do I have to put another piece of tape to really clean this up? Look at that. It's already cleaned. Let's get the other side. We're going to get these two pieces. Let's rip this one in half again the long way. Clean this up right here. Like so. We're going to clean this up right here. Like so. Now, we're going to do one more. This in half the long way. Small one right on the handle. Just take some strips, press and lay. Super simple process. If you come across any creases, pull the tape up, relay. If you need these to be smaller, rip them in half again. Now that we have the side handle taped up, this is secure. Everything here looks great, feels great. So now we're going to tape up the pommel. I really dig this being gray and the rest of this being black. So I'm actually going to take some gray and I'm going to tape all of this down and together, and then I'm going to put the black as more of a box and tape from there up to the handle. So now, take this. We're going to start the black. Because I just want enough to where we get this little gem. That's going to be a nice little accent color. Just like so. I want it to be a square. I want it to be a square. Perfect. And the rest of this is going to be taped layering. We're going to tape this together just like we did before. He's slowly but surely adding layers where it's just closing itself up. So now we're going to add the one more piece of cleanup on the handle. Place it here, pull it a little tighter, press it down, press it down. So when we put the jute on the handle, okay, it's a fairly simple process. We're going to take our duct tape and we're going to tape it backwards. So the sticky side is up. So put the piece on as if you're going to wrap it around and then go the other direction. Don't pull too tight, it'll fall off itself. You're going to want to get it so you meet up. And you're going to follow this process up as you move the string up. Take your little piece, put it up the side a little bit, go back down to the pommel. Keep it nice and tight. Don't wrench. Keep it tight until you get to the other side here. Now, see where it meets? You're going to go just one layer above. You're going to be doing that the entire way. Every now and again, you're going to want to push it all down because you want this to be tight. Once you start to get close to the edge of your tape, you just take another strip, place it, roll it backwards, all the way around. So you get to the other side, keep stringing. We're using jute in this build because we had zero materials at the house and we wanted to go and get $20 worth of stuff to have a sword ready for game day. If you have string at the house or you find something else that fits that $20 budget, by all means use it. I know a lot of people who use yarn. You could use paracord, you could use hemp, you could use shoestring if that's all you got. I chose jute because I like it. It's cheap, it's effective, it does the job. So we're going to finish wrapping this up. Take it, cut it, small piece of tape, just enough to keep that down for now. Once again, part, press lay. So then we're going to move down to the bottom portion here. Same kind of thing. Okay. Now, you could just take this and run with it. But I'm going to do a couple of little things here just to give it a little pizzazz. Okay, just like so. And up here, I just want this to be even. I don't like so. And just try to make it even all the way around. Almost perfect right there. So we're going to measure it. We're going to measure even from the bottom, and we're going to look at it, and we are right at 30 inches. This is a game day ready sword that is at the standard 30-inch length. For $20, this is a good sword. You have a nice meaty tip, perfectly safe, 2 layers on each side. Nothing's going to hurt here, nothing's going to hurt here. Bam! $20. Game day ready. Let's go fight.